Hello, my name is Lee Partridge, and today I'm chatting with Mayor of Watford, Peter Taylor, and also CEO of Wenta, Ed Jordan. Thanks for joining me, the chaps, this morning.
Pleasure, Lee. Good to see you again.
Happy to be here. Pleased to meet you.
Now, we're talking about the business recovery scheme that's now available to both residents, individuals and businesses within Watford. The year we've had, I don't think you need me to say how difficult it's been for all those involved, and will continue into the foreseeable future at the moment. But before we talk about that, firstly, Ed, could you give me an overview of Wenta, those that may not be aware of what exactly where Wenta are, what Wenta do, and like you can see there, 37 years is a long time for people not to realise that you're our local social enterprise.
Absolutely. So an organisation that was started in 1983, so I've been supporting people since 1983, born and based in Watford, supported by Watford business people and the Watford community to support residents and businesses in Watford to thrive and grow. Over that time, we have supported several thousand businesses to develop their skills, learn the sort of skills that they need to run their businesses more successfully. We also have workspace. We provide free workspace, incubation workspace for people that want to start their businesses. And when we kind of fast forward to today, that all of that history and heritage that we've got in Watford put us in a great place to partner with Watford Borough Council on today's challenges. You know, the challenges of the last 37 years don't feel like they compare with the challenges of 2020, quite frankly. And I think by entering into sort of a partnership arrangement, it really strengthens our joint position to support the businesses and the residents of Watford. And
Peter, can you give us an overview of why you've got involved, why the council's partnered with Wenta, and what the main focus of the business recovery scheme and support is?
Yeah, thanks, Lee. I mean, the main reason I'm working with Wenta actually is because of the reputation they have. I mean, I've come across lots of people who've worked with Wenta. They've had training, they've been mentored, one-to-one support, and they said how great Wenta have been. And you know, you said earlier it's been a really tough year, but I'm also very conscious that, you know, necessity is the mother of invention, that lots of people are actually thinking about new ways of operating. They might have been made unemployed, they might have always thought about setting up a new business. And this year, a lot of people have been reflecting on where they are and thinking, actually, let's try something new. You know, 2021, let's hope, you know, the vaccine's rolled out, there's going to be lots of opportunities. And so this is about getting people ready to get back on their feet and bounce back from a very difficult year. So we're doing lots of other work, obviously, encouraging people to shop local. There's lots of financial support that's available for people to get through. But I think one of the key things is working with Wenta to help people who are wanting to start up a new business, a new enterprise, and have the support that they need to do that.
You talk about jobs. This could, as difficult it's been, there's going to be opportunities for people, maybe people to diversify or move across to a different sector. We've seen this year, I think nationally, 140,000 jobs in the retail have gone. They have forecast at 250 by the end of this year. So it could be that people move to different industries, start up businesses themselves, or if they've got businesses, to try and grow them, and then that could lead to employing, you know, more people. Maybe a friend of mine, he had some space at Wenta for a period of time. He started to employ more and more people, and by nature outgrew the space he had and had to move on. So there's a testament to one particular story that I'm familiar with, that can actually happen. Ed, tell us about some of the things that are available at Wenta in general, but specifically this recovery scheme.
So I think one of the most valuable things that this programme gives is the time for people to have one-to-one personal advice. Time's a really precious commodity when you run a business, whether that be you're thinking of starting one, or you started, or, you know, the first few years, it's really challenging to face up to the time pressures, the financial pressures. It's quite a stressful thing to do. So just having a friend, a mentor, somebody that you can go to who's going to have the time for you is a really valuable aspect of this program. And I think if people that are in businesses or feel that they are under pressure can find somebody to talk to about that. Now, sometimes it's partners or spouses or members of family and so on, but actually to have somebody, a regular go-to person at Wenta is, I think, a really good thing to do. And the thing that I didn't mention earlier about Wenta being a social enterprise, it's free. Wow. You know, come on, just find an hour, speak to somebody, see where it takes you. So I think that's a really important aspect of the program. And at the other end of the spectrum, where businesses have more complex needs, thanks to Peter and Watford, they've funded an aspect of the program that will allow you access to expertise at the top end. Maybe it could be legal advice, it might be intellectual property, it might be that you want to speak to somebody in the accountancy field. So it's a really we're really trying to be a catch-all partnership. We really want to support every business that we can. And that means we've got to have a spread of services and a spread of aspects to the program. We're realistic at Wenta. We don't do everything. We try to be brilliant at what we do, but what we don't do, we'll find you somebody that can help you. So in the wider Hertfordshire landscape, if a business comes into this program and we can't really find a way to help them, we can work with the local enterprise partnership and the Hertfordshire Growth Hub. They too have other services, other programs, other ways to support business. So, you know, putting all those things together, we really want to, you know, find a way to get the economic vibrancy of Watford, keep it going, restore it where it needs restoring, and try to, you know, really provide people meaningful advice and support.
So a couple of questions. Say, for instance, someone's been employed and they either, through no fault of their own, they may be made redundant, they may be thinking that that's a possibility, they may be furloughed, they may just want to change, and they've always wanted to, say, go into the self-employed sector. Now, that can, if someone's never been self-employed, that can be quite daunting because they're thinking, you know, tax, VAT, how do I deal with that? There's so many different issues that they have to take on board. Is there support for that? Because I know a lot of people are going self-employed, and a lot of people within the building industry are already self-employed or want to. Where do you stand with that?
Absolutely. So there'll be lots of Watford residents who are considering that very question as we speak. And in your daily life, whether you're a mayor or a CEO or a broadcaster, you probably haven't had to make a VAT application before. You probably haven't had to start up a PAYE salary account with HMRC. So all of those new areas that you probably need to know something about to help you take the decision. Is self-employment correct? Should I do a limited company? Should I become a social enterprise? You know, all of those questions are the things that will be teased out through speaking to an advisor at Wenta or speaking to a specialist. And when you were talking earlier about the sort of real pressures that are facing people, the news yesterday about the retail collapse of Debenhams and perhaps Arcadia, people are thinking of doing more than one job. You know, not the actual expansion of people, this whole gig economy thing. You know, it's an option. It's perfectly possible. Obviously, you need to think about it, how you're going to go about it, how you're going to weigh up the different things that you do. Are you going to be able to cope with the stresses, pressures and stress? But actually, you know, more and more people will have multiple strands to their work. On Monday and Tuesday, they'll be doing one thing, but on Friday, they could well be doing something else. And that sort of support is to get that up and running is available. Our pressure is not, can we provide support? It's, can we get the word out there? Can we, you know, get Vibe FM and others to really spread the word about this program?
Absolutely. Peter, I've got a small local business, as you may or may not be aware of. hit some real challenging times, especially this year, due to the pandemic. And at the moment, I'm not sure whether, and I'll be brutally honest with you, whether it will see the other side of Christmas or into the new year. I'm sure there's lots of other businesses, small businesses and people, whether they be in hospitality or small little local shops, that are feeling exactly the same way as me. Yeah. What words of advice would you give, or any ideas of what you think the future might hold for those businesses?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, we're eager to help businesses survive. So it's just getting through the next few weeks, which we know is going to be difficult. And so there are grants that the government have made available, and we've already been getting those out as quickly as we can. The team are working around the clock to process those. So if you go to the council website, it's watford.gov.uk/business grants, and you can see all the information about the different schemes that are available. But we know that things aren't, we all hope and pray that there'll be a vaccine and it'll be rolled out really quickly. But that doesn't mean that we're going to go back to how things were at the start of this year. Things are going to change permanently, and that's why we're working with Wenta in this partnership. So I know, for example, that if people want a new website, they will help people do that for free, and we're really keen to promote that. So a lot of businesses obviously are making sure that they've got a really great online presence, that people can get their products and services that way. And so I'd say, first of all, make sure you're getting all the financial support you're entitled to. But secondly, work with us, and we'll work with you to make sure that you can adapt, so that next year you're able to take advantage of the opportunities that it'll bring. So,
I mean, that's fantastic. And you're talking about grants and that, and sometimes that can be a minefield. Is that something that the business recovery and growth scheme, it's not just about starting up a business, starting self-employed? Someone can come to you, Ed, and say, look, I've hit these challenges this year. I don't know what to do. Can you give me some advice? Not to say that it will end up, in the right way, but at least it gives them a fighting chance to try and steer their business into the right direction.
Absolutely. I think we all know that some businesses have not received any support. It's well documented, it's well publicised, and I think it's a frustration for those businesses. But organisations like Watford Borough Council, I think, have done a great job actually under pressure to process and administer these grants. And quite frankly, what this scheme can do and what Wenta can do is help translate these schemes at speed. People in businesses they need pace, they need access to finance, they need the myriad of schemes. I mean, I bet you between the three of us, we could name 50 schemes. I mean, the paperwork on this is absolutely immense. The filing cabinets at Watford Borough Council must be full now with guidance on these things. So if you're a business, it's really hard to find your way, but Wenta will translate the schemes for you. That we look continuously at the detail. Every day there's a new announcement. You know that Mondays and Thursdays somebody's standing at a podium. There's £1,000 grant now for pubs, so there'll be guidance on that, and we will work through all of these grant programs to find out whether the organisation is eligible. And the other thing, and I mentioned it earlier, there's a whole host of schemes out there that are outside the gift of Wenta and Watford Borough Council, but they still have existed in Hertfordshire. Research and development tax credits and programs. So there's a whole host of things. It really is around finding ways to get businesses to get in touch and find out what's available for them. But the first step, I think, is to make contact with Watford, make contact with Wenta, and feel free to ask the question. No question at this time or any time in business is a stupid question. Just ask.
And you have some office space, maybe if somebody's starting out down there as well, because that can be really important. People have got busy houses, there might be children or family involved. Think, how can I possibly think about having my office at home?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the world has changed in 2020. I do think that people will want to change the way they work and the way that we live, perhaps. But one thing that has stayed the same is the point you just raised. People need some space to think. And occasionally that means a really small office of their own away from the kitchen table so they can develop their ideas, meet like-minded people around them. They might just pass in a corridor or the car park or the kitchen and talk about what they're doing. I think having those networks is absolutely vital, and I think Watford is really vibrant from a community and a business networking perspective. There's always something on, but if you're based somewhere, you get that familiarity with the people around you, and actually you can just pop in and see Leandro Eusebio is the name of the guy that the program have taken on to support businesses. You can just drop in and socially distanced, see Leandro and say, I'm having this problem. So yeah, place-based support is just as important as digital support.
And Peter, we've seen today that the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccines have initially been approved. Do you see that is the start of returning to whatever normal may be for businesses and part of the business recovery?
I do. I mean, those vaccines, we're working really close with Public Health England, with the NHS, and with the local hospital trust to, provide space so they can be rolled out really quickly in Watford, and also even more testing sites. All I'd say about the speed at which it's been done is they've not cut any corners. I've actually got friends who work in the Oxford trial, and what they've done is they've just basically, there used to be long pauses in between things where you're waiting for funding bids or going through, red tape. They've managed to do that as quickly as possible. So just to reassure anyone listening that, they will be safe. They've gone through all of the tests that are necessary to make sure that they are safe for people. And I think it's so important that we all want to see these restrictions go so we can go, back to watch football games and go to the pub and meet our friends and all of those normal things that we took for granted. But we're only going to be able to do that if there's a big take-up of the vaccine, so that we get the number of cases right back down. So I'm hopeful that in the next few months we'll see that really rolling out very quickly, and then as I say, things won't go back to how they were, but we will at last be able to meet each other a little bit more normally.
Yeah, let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Ed, so with that in mind, I wanted this to lead on. Some people, again, or some businesses might have thought, where we are, what's the point in me trying to grow my business? What's the point of me trying to start this business because we are where we are? With that in mind, what we've heard, that things could be returning to some sort of new normal. I say I've got an idea for a business. So I've got an idea for this business, and I'm thinking, this is a great idea, but where do I start? What do I do? Funds might be difficult, like they are for so many people at the moment, but it's still a good germ of an idea that could start a business. So how do I go about contacting Wenta? And what's my first conversation going to be without feeling embarrassed?
So you can contact Wenta, I think, in the way that you feel most comfortable. So that could be on the phone. It could be by visiting either the Watford Business website or the Wenta website. You could have a live chat with one of our business advisors. So when you go onto our website and the live chat box pops up, it's a real person. When you see the photograph, that's not a virtual agent, that's a real person. And if you don't want to see somebody face to face, or you feel a bit embarrassed, actually typing words in works. Actually, you don't actually have to face somebody if you feel uncomfortable in face to face situations. But if you really want to meet somebody, as I've said earlier, some people are only comfortable in face to face situations. You can send us an email at the info@wenta.co.uk inbox. You can, as I said, ring us. So what we try to do is provide as much choice as possible so that you're the most relaxed you can be in the style of communication that you want. On the other end will be a member of the Wenta team, and they will just ask you a series of questions, some of which are very obvious, some contact details and so on. But then you'll be asked to just sort of talk to your idea and talk about the challenges you think that you've got, or the barriers that you face. And from there, there'll be a form of triage around, well, okay, what's the best next step? And occasionally that's, well, what you really want to do from what you've identified is maybe a webinar on social media. You really want to get into the social media space. Or you might want to take advantage of a free website. You want to get up and running, you want to get your name out there, and you might want to do transactions on that website. You might want to find out about VAT or cash flow and so on. So I think there's a way of having a conversation with somebody at Wenta that will allow them to figure out your best next step. No two journeys are the same, no two people are the same, no two businesses are the same. So our strength is really allowing you to be you and do what you're doing best, which is come up with these, as you say, fantastic ideas. Our job is just to facilitate your ideas and support you on that journey. And we don't do it in some kind of box ticking way. We don't fake it. You know, we're just real people trying to help other real people be successful with their business. And we'll go on the journey that you want.
And Peter, this recovery and growth scheme, support scheme, is focused on Watford. It's focused on the residents and the businesses that work in and around Watford. We've seen various other, well, I have councils or boroughs that are not that attached to their local area, maybe because their head office is somewhere else in a different area. And sometimes they get detached from that, through no fault of their own. It's just how things are. But you're really trying to focus in on the Watford area, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's my focus. I would say some of the schemes, so the local enterprise partnership covers the whole of Hertfordshire. And so, you know, if you're a Bushey resident or Rickmansworth or Abbots or wherever, some of the schemes, you know, you will be entitled to funding. So they've got £5,000 grant match funding if you want to change how you operate, and that's through the LEP. So there are the schemes, and the government have provided funding for every council to help with business recovery and business support. So every council should be doing something. Obviously, it's up to them how they do it. But for Watford businesses, as Ed said, the first port of call would be watfordbusiness.com is the special website that's got information about what we're doing, what Wenta are doing, some of the LEP schemes, so people can find out about it there. But yeah, obviously, unsurprisingly, my focus is definitely Watford.
Yeah, well, good to hear. Good to hear. And Ed, finally, for yourself, can you words of encouragement, words of positivity, because we all need them through this time, and once again, how people can contact Wenta?
So the past year has been a real roller coaster if you're in a business, but I would say that at Wenta, we've seen many businesses grow during the past year. We've seen some expand, and we've seen lots of new ideas come on stream, particularly around healthcare and, you know, ways to support mental health and well-being. So there are lots of things that people can do, and we've seen first-hand evidence of that. We really want people to tell people about this program. If everybody listening to this today just tells 5 other people about this program, our reach in Watford will really be as big and as strong as it can be. And tell them to make contact with Wenta via the website, or Watford Borough Council via their the business.com website. Give us a call. Pop into Conway. We're just off the A41. Walk in. You will get a warm welcome. We will support you. Make contact the way that you feel most comfortable. But whatever you do, make contact.
Absolutely. They're a great team down there, Wenta. I can tell you that from my own experience. And not most importantly, but we hear of lots of telephone numbers when you're asking for HR advice or this advice, and well, it's going to cost you that. I'm a consultant. It's going to cost you that. It's all free. Once again, got to give that a plug. It's all free, Ed.
Absolutely. People think that because it's free, it may not have value, but actually Watford Borough Council are supporting us and paying us to provide free advice to the end user. And as a social enterprise, we are committed to having the best free advice and support available.
Absolutely. Look, thanks for joining me, chaps, fellas. Thanks for joining me. And like we say, we can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So let's hope that all the businesses, individuals, self-employed, etc., can take up on these this fantastic offer that's free. You can't get cheaper than free, but professional. That's the most important thing as well at Wenta. So great work by the council, teaming up with the fantastic Wenta. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.